What's going on, guys? So sorry there was no topic posted yesterday. They will start tonight. The topics posted this week are going to be of pertaining to Miss Mina Flex Muscles series, play by play the woman's experience. Was just happened this past Monday, the very first episode. Mental Health Monday will continue this following week, but the posts this week are going to be pertaining to her series. If you want to see the first half of it, it's going to be on Mina Flex Muscles Instagram, and then you can catch the rest of it here. I'll be posting clips of it every day. So that being said, roll to Mina.
Hey y'all, today's video is about insecurities, so I figured I would bear it all before I bear it all in this video. Insecurities are tough. First step of changing or growth or loving yourself is being aware of the things that you are insecure about. And it's hard, but it's doable.
Lisa just finished talking about her whole list of insecurities. It was so long that we had to take a break. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We had to insert another mic in here to make way for our special guest.
Hi, I'm Destiny.
Yes, we are going to introduce her and have her tell us a little bit about herself.
Great. Okay. My name's Destiny. I'm 19 years old, and I don't know. I guess you can say what? Oh, my boyfriend Xander.
Yeah.
He came out in a few videos. He's Jeremy's brother, and yeah, it's my first time.
Yes, she is our special guest. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us on this marvelous Monday with Mina and Lisa. Play by play, the women's experience continued. So we are talking about insecurities. What are some insecurities that you have that you would like to share?
Some insecurities I have, I'm pretty sure this is common for a lot of women, is your appearance.
Of course.
Your appearance. Like, as much as you say that you're confident, as much as you say that you love yourself, you know your worth, I feel like at the end of the day, like, you're still like, you know, like, you're not as confident. Like, I feel like for me, I'm confident and I'm like I love myself. At the same time, I still find myself like comparing myself to like models on Instagram, or just like in everyday life, like. But then I gotta understand that, like, I'm my own person. I love me. You know, the only thing I couldn't maintain is my confidence, and just like the way, like, if I have a problem with the way I look, change it.
Right.
You know?
And we gotta
Either-
remember, Instagram is so
Instagram
manufactured
is
and
just-
filtered and fake. Like, that's what we have to remind ourselves. Like,
Exactly.
even the people on Instagram
It's exactly
aren't exactly.
who they are. And yeah, I feel like what I'm working on now is just my mindset and just how I feel about, like, physically. But other than that, I feel pretty confident in myself. I feel like I came a long way.
All right, Mina, now it's your turn. You can't.
Don't worry, I am very available to answer this question. As you stated, I am insecure of the way that I look, for sure. I do know that I am beautifully and wonderfully made. However, not really comparing myself to other people, but just myself as a perfectionist, flaws that I have on my skin, or scars that I have, or just the way that I look is a little different. When people mistake me for being, African American or Hawaiian or anything like that, it's not that I don't have anything against those other people. I just don't understand, like, why can't I be what I am? Like, what? Yeah.
Like, why do you always feel the need to
Put me in a
answer,
box.
Like, yeah, put me in a box, just like to label.
Exactly. So I definitely feel insecure about my looks, even my body. I mean, I go to the gym all the time. Everybody always compliments my body. I get people saying, "Oh my gosh, you had 2 children and you look like that. You look amazing." Or even some people who are very bold and they're like, "Oh, you don't even need plastic surgery. You look great." And I'm like, "Wow, like,
Didn't even think about that.
Thank you."
Yeah.
Seriously. So of course there are always things that I would like to change, that I'm insecure about myself, but I think the reality is, I'm growing and I'm learning to accept myself for who I am. The biggest insecurity I have, I think, is my mental health or my mental well-being, because it constantly changes, and because I don't fit into society's norms. I think I think outside of the box. I ask a lot of questions. The questions that I ask aren't normal questions, so sometimes I feel rejected or different because I'm not asking the same questions as everyone else, or because I want to dive so deep into conversation. It's not the regular, what's your favorite color? It's like, hey, if you could pick any, starburst out of the bunch, which one would you pick and why? Or if you can go to outer space and, grab a star or see a constellation, just stuff like that. But those are the conversations that I want to have with people, not just the regular, what's your favorite color? So again, sometimes I feel insecure about the social interactions that I have with people just because I don't feel like I ask normal questions. Not that it's a bad thing, but again, I just feel insecure because I feel that I may be rejected by some people. So I guess one big insecurity is just rejection, being my true self and not feeling that fear of being rejected. Next, let's see what else is there. Anybody else have any insecurities that they would like to add? Ooh, what?
He just got down to me now. Hi.
Aww. All right, let's
He's gonna
see.
be gone for like. Oh my god, my fingers. Has Destiny get in the camera? Oh, I guess he can't see me.
Oh, this one.
You're like.
All right, guys, let's see.
Just talk about how do you beat your insecurities though? You talked about
How do you
insecurities, but
beat
how do
insecurities?
you just live with it your entire life?
Oh, we talked about it.
That's like mentally, like that's something you have to.
You have to continue to grow. You have to continue to accept yourself. You have to continue to understand that society's norms or cultural norms are always going to be ever changing, and that doesn't have to make you feel less of yourself.
Right.
Right. And she was just saying how even though she feels all these things, that she's still confident. And that's the biggest thing at the end of the day is, do you like who you are? Are you okay with who you are? You know what I mean? Even though you're insecure, you can try and change those things or not change those things and just love who you are and accept, hey, yeah, I do have a scar here and I like it.
For me, I feel like, honestly, like, I pick up on like a lot of people's like vibes and just like how like they present themselves with me. Like, I let everything, like, I let the smallest thing like irk me or like just like get to my head, but like honestly, like I've learned not to take stuff to the heart, like not to take it like so personal. Because if you do that, like you're gonna be like just
stuck in
your own head, creating
forever.
scenarios in your head. Like you're gonna be saying like a what if or like a if can. That's like you just gotta learn not to.
Well, that's what we were saying.
You know,
you have to choose whose opinion you value.
Yes.
Whose opinion you really take to heart, and
For sure.
and allow for you to make changes if they're necessary. And so we can't take everyone's opinion to heart because sometimes it's just people just being ugly.
Yeah.
They're not even speaking truth. They're speaking lies because of jealousy, lies because of multiple reasons.
Right.
So it's like you have to choose who you value, and what input you value. So
they're not happy with themselves, so they're gonna project that on
100%.
They're just projecting their insecurities onto you and just basically trying to tear yourself down.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
There's something they're intimidated by in you that causes them to speak out in ugly, and say ugly things.
I feel like as women, we tend to do that a lot.
Yeah.
Like we tend to like see each other like as a challenge or kind of like a threat, like competition.
Yep.
And I feel like that's something that began to be normal in society, but at the same time, like we're always talking about like girl power, like always trying to motivate like another female, but at the same time, like we always tend to find ourselves just like,
Like how are we lifting each other up?
Yeah.
People say that, but are they really lifting each other
Because behind
up?
closed doors, you never know.
100%. Until it becomes an issue. Let's see. So we only have 3 topics left on what we have written down right here. I guess one thing, and we can kind of go into that with what we're talking about right now with insecurities and whose opinion to value. It's overanalyzing, and that can be someone saying something to you and then you spiral out of control with your thoughts, just over analyzing what they're saying. Well, are they saying this because other people are thinking this? Did someone else put this thought in their head?
Yes.
Like, and it can spiral out of control. And so that's another thing. Do women do it more or do men do it? And then how can we overcome it? So thoughts.
I definitely live in my head a lot. I think I'm very critical of myself, and I don't give myself enough grace or enough, I'm not as gentle with myself. So I am trying to get out of my head and not trying to overanalyze things, and just like you said, citing the source, and then realizing, regardless of the source, is this something that I want? Is this something that I accept, that I can live with myself with? You know what I mean? If someone says like, oh, you're a perfectionist, you know what I mean? Like, well, I'm okay with that. Or yeah, you're OCD. Like, I can kind of live with that. You know what I mean? There are some things that probably are going to bother people, but at the end of the day, I like my things organized, and that's how I view OCD. I don't have to view it in a negative way. I'm not touching things or doing, extra things that maybe I wouldn't want or I wouldn't accept, but at the same time, that's me.
So when you are overanalyzing something, how do you stop yourself?
I have to be self-aware that I am overanalyzing it, because that's a hard thing too, to realize, ooh, I'm in my head
When
right
you're
now,
doing it.
or ooh, I'm overanalyzing myself, I'm going a little too deep, like it's really not that serious, let me
Right.
back off and get to the root cause of this.
Right.
And or even, why am I in my head, or why am I overanalyzing it? Is this something that I really want to work on, or is this something that Sally is just in my head about, that I really don't care about? So I think going back to, let me write this down, let me journal it, let me do something to take this out of my head and maybe onto a piece of paper. If I need to crumple it up and throw it away because I don't believe it's true, then let me do that. But yeah, just the self-aware part of it, because if you're not self-aware, then you're just going to stay there forever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
With me, I feel like with me, I'm one of those people where I feel like communication is just like the key to everything, but at the same time, that's something I need to work on, because I'm basically like in that topic, I'm basically like a hypocrite. Like, I'm saying communication is key, communicate, but with me, like, I communicate in my own head. I don't verbally, but with me, I find myself communicating, not to sound crazy, but like I'm just like in my head a lot. Like, I create like little scenarios in my head just about like, this probably just like about like everyday actions, but I basically just analyze situations in my head before even speaking upon about it, and that's an issue that I have. That's something I need to work on, and I am working on it. Like, nobody's perfect, but at the end of the day, like, I need to get out of my head and actually voice my opinion, voice how I feel, because if you don't, you're not going to get anywhere with yourself, or with how you feel.
When you're going through all that in your head too, you can go through so many different scenarios, and not a single one of them will be how it actually plays out. And how much time have you then spent thinking about all these possibilities and like agonizing over it because it's causing anxiety or stress or anger or frustration. And now you spent how much time fueling those scenarios only to find out that none of them happen that way. And we occasionally talk about like how that's obviously us, but that's just the devil like feeding us all this negative
It's just our
talk,
conscience,
and
our
it's like
conscience is nagging.
that's what we have to work on too. It's like in the end you've got to stop it, like cut it off at the pass, because you're not going to be able to anticipate exactly how the situation's going to go. And honestly, if you're to the point where you're analyzing it like that, it means you need to be talking to the other person about it now. Before you end up causing more emotion to fall behind it that doesn't need to. And then you're having all this internal communication you've never had with the other person. And then you come at that other person
More
with
than
all this
50%.
conversation that the other person has no idea has already gone on without them.
More than 50% of the time that happens. Oh my gosh, I feel like an idiot. I'm just like, dude. Like, I feel like this relationship I'm in, he's taught me a lot. Because before, I just let everything get to my head. But now, like with him, he teaches me how to be more verbal. He teaches me how to, like, for me, I'm an emotional person. And with him, he wasn't. Like, with this relationship, I love it only because, like, we always, like, we never, like, really critique one another. But, like, we're always just, like, you need to work on this. Okay, I'm gonna work on this, but you need to work on that. Like, we're always just trying to uplift one another, and I feel like that's like, regardless of being in a relationship, friendships, just talking to anybody else. I feel like a simple, what's the word? Just like a simple, not, how do you say it? I was like, it's like in the back of my tongue. But
not like advice.
It's advice. Yes, advice.
But it seems like you guys
happens.
accept each other for who you are, but at the same time, you guys want to grow together in, you know, like your maturity and in you guys being adults and individuals. And so you guys are supporting each other in a positive way and not feeling that you're being judged. It's like, hey, I see you,
it's the judgment
and I want to help you.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm telling you this because I care about you.
Right.
Not because I'm trying to
Not,
one-up
hey, you better change this or I ain't gonna be with you.
I'm leaving. No, it's not even about that. Like, it's more so like, we're gonna grow. You could, like, in a relationship, I feel like there's like two important keys. Like, you can't get lost, like, being in a relationship. Like, you still have to, like, grow individually. Like I always tell them that, like, never get lost in a relationship. You need to, like, work on yourself, grow individually, because outside of the relationship, you're your own person.
Right.
It's a partnership, and you have to remember that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, you were your own person before that relationship, and that's who they fell in love with, or that's who they wanted to be around. So now you guys are in a relationship, but you can't just get consumed with each other.
Exactly.
Right. Your sense of self can't be lost in a relationship.
I feel like that's where a lot of people get lost in. I feel like
it's easy. It's easy to get intertwined and then just be you two and lose everything else, and then. You know, it's like you don't have anything.
Well, that becomes the desire to be in a relationship ends up being higher than the quality of the relationship itself.
Right.
And that's where we have to find a balance. Like, you can't let the desire to be in a relationship consume who you are, because then you don't know who you are when that relationship ends.
Yeah. Like what did you gain? What did you learn? What did you take in?
Yeah.
You no longer know who you are as a person when that relationship ends.
I feel like with a lot of people, they get lost, and like they always say, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. Like, yes, you do. You just need to knock some sense into yourself and realize that stuff ain't the same, and you just need to move on. And that's where self-growth comes in. That's where building your mindset, just in a bunch of different areas, you know.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Very true.
That's life.
That's learning.
So I guess this could kind of be a segue into, well, actually, let's not go there yet. Who do you think overanalyzes more, men or women?
Oof.
And if we want to elaborate on that, to what context?
I would say women, but then I feel like that's a lie. I feel like men probably do, but they have a big ego, so they're never gonna tell you. Or they're prideful, so they're never gonna tell you. They're just gonna make you think that you're in your head all the time and you're doing it. Even though they're probably doing the same thing, but they're just not gonna tell you. It's like, I got my stuff all together.
Yes.
Because nobody wants to look like they don't have it all together.
Right. But as females, we're more vulnerable, and we're more accepting of, I don't have to have it all together. I don't have to, like, this is who I am, and I accept myself, and you know what I mean? Like, so here it is.
I think you have to find the growth to get there.
Yeah, it depends on what the subject is, right? You know.
But I also think for guys, it's a different context of overanalyzing things, and that also goes with how the relationship is. Like, we overanalyze things from an emotional and maybe romantic kind of level. Like, we're questioning, oh, does he love me? He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. Like, he doesn't love me. Meanwhile,
what's wrong with you?
Right. And then meanwhile, how does he express his love?
Exactly.
Right.
And if you haven't figured that out, I mean, again, we're kind of going into a love languages kind of thing. Like, we all love differently. And even if you don't want to call it the love languages, everyone knows that what is identified in the 5 love languages is how we identify it too.
We project it differently.
Spending time with me. It's the, you know, are you holding my hand? Are you cuddling me? That's a physical touch. I really hate washing the dishes. But you came home and you did it for me. Right. That's telling me you're doing that for me. And a lot of times, like, if I'm stressed or whatever, and my partner does something that I despise doing, there's like it's almost like there's a weight lifted off my shoulders, because when it's something you don't like to do, there's so much, like, I don't want to say anxiety, but just like, you could feel that emotion build up. Like, tension. Stress. I really don't feel like doing this right now. I have so much other things going on. but you come home and find out it's already been done. It's like, hey,
like, okay,
right.
world.
Yeah. And then there's some people like it when guys show affection by buying things for them, you know.
Gifts, and then there's words of affirmation.
And then telling me how beautiful I am, or you know how much you love spending time with me. So they all have different names. If you guys don't know what the 5 love languages are, but we all identify all those things, you know. And it's just about you communicating with your partner what of those things is important to you that makes you feel loved. But you also have to understand, you know, I think words of affirmation sometimes is exactly what I need, but my partner might want me to cuddle with him, might want me to spend more time with him. He may be so good about his confidence and whatnot that he doesn't need me to tell him that. Now, that's not necessarily true. I think every man needs a little bit of uplifting, even if they are very confident. But you have to identify how the other person needs to be loved to make that work well. Okay, so we kind of touched on it a little bit as we talked about it.
We were going back to, we kind of deterred from the original, though, of who overanalyzes, men or women.
That is true.
Because we were talking about, you know, men are more prideful and stuff like that. So if we have that question settled, then we can go on. I'm not worried.
All right, what do you think? Do you think guys overanalyze?
More than females, or females more than males?
You see, that's something that's debatable.
It is.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like if you were to take like a poll count, I feel like you'll probably get like a 40%.
It just depends on whether the guys are being honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, it depends if they're gonna press that yes, or you know what,
right.
you know,
are
what,
they
I'm not
to
gonna
admit
say it,
it?
but you know, I'm gonna press that now.
If it's an anonymous poll, you'd be more than likely finding out. All they have to do is identify what gender they are. But I feel like guys overanalyze to a certain degree. They may want to fight it and say that they don't, but they are thinking about things and they are running scenarios.
Because they're the providers, so they want to make sure you feel supported. They want to make sure they're respected. They want to make sure, you know what I mean. So it almost feels like they have a little bit more weight on their shoulders because they're not emotionally driven to do those things. It's almost like that's what they're meant to be in life. You know what I mean? Like that's what they were built to be.
That's where the context comes in.
Yeah.
You know, it stresses on the relationship based on I don't want to say society, but that tends to be where the stresses come from, because it is pressure placed upon women being able to take care of a household, bearing children, being able to cook, not necessarily working, or if they are the breadwinner in the relationship, can the male handle it? Can they be okay with the fact that they're not the one providing for the family? And you know, those are things that can be, you know, both sides, you know.
I say it's like a 50-50. For me, I'll probably be in the middle, only because women and men, like, we carry stuff different, especially like how we think. Men, they might be overthinking financially, their appearance. Women, we might be thinking of our appearance, how we feel emotionally, what can we do better, you know. But I feel like it's just about how they carry their mindset and how.
And it's also how secure you are in yourself.
Exactly.
If you're feeling insecurities, that's usually what feeds the overanalyzing. You're feeling insecure about something, so your mind starts to think about it. Well, how can I do this
when,
different?
where, why?
Exactly. There's so many different ways. So I think if you're confident or you feel like you're growing as a person, then you're going to be less likely to overanalyze certain things, because you're like for example, someone at work says this about me. Oh no, I know who that person is. I know who I am. I'm not worried about it. There is no overanalyzing because I'm done. I got this, you know? So you don't even think twice. But then when you're insecure about something where, oh, so-and-so is a guy I really like, and you know, I overheard someone saying that, oh, do you think, you know, do you see her? What do you think? Whatever. And then I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, am I pretty enough? Or, oh my gosh, did I do this? Whatever. You know, it's the conversation starts to go over in your head if appearance is an insecurity of yours. You know, and especially in a context of someone that you might like. So.
Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode of this series, Play by Play, The Women's Experience, hosted by yours truly, Mina Flex Muscle. Let's get it.